So me and Jack are here today. We're down at Linear Fisheries and we're taking part in the BCAC Shield event. Normally we'd be in the main British Carp Championships event, but due to COVID it couldn't start early enough in the year. Because the lakes were booked out, they've come up with a new event. It's over 2 weekends spread apart, so you're going to fish Brasenose 1 one weekend and Brasenose 2 the other weekend. We got down here last night because even though it's an out of the bag draw, we just wanted to, have a look around, get a feel for where the fish were in case we ended up in that peg.
We were pleased that it was an out the draw bag in the end, after coming 30th out the bag out of 32. But we've managed to get on Brasenose 1, which has been fishing particularly tricky recently. Brasenose 2 has been more productive, but we're in a good swim. We're in the centre of the lake, and hopefully we should nick a few fish.
Yeah, I think what we were saying is normally the draw would be a watercraft base. You'd write down all the pegs you want in an order, and then your name will come out, and then you'll pick where you are. And we came 30th out, which would normally mean we'd end up in a real bad swim. But we've come out in a peg here that we would have probably had in our top 10 choices across the 2 lakes, so we really can't moan about that. We put out earlier, we put 1 spot of mixers out just to see, and about 400 seagulls came, so we've written that off until possibly the later hours of the day when the light's starting to fade and the birds might not be such a problem. But yeah, so that was in the lead up to being allowed to cast out at 12. And come 12, what we've decided is we've started all 4 rods on zig rigs.
Yeah, we've 4 different depths at the minute and 4 different colours, and we will just chop and change for the next 2 or 3 hours to see if we can find a particular depth that they're sat at. Now, the fish are up in the water, but a few inches difference in depth can make all of the difference. Half a foot, even 2 or 3 inches under the surface, getting that zig sat where it needs to be. There's a lot of fish in this lake, and they can be hard to catch, funnily enough, but if you can get that depth right and that tactic right on the day, you should put a few fish on the bank.
Well, we can see a lot of fish right under the surface. Some have even sat with their backs out of the water, so what we're going to do is extend the zigs to be just under the surface. So we're going to try sort of zigs between 13 and 15 foot for the next hour. Just hope that it intercepts something swimming right under the surface. So that's the next tactic for the next hour. Having these zigs pre-tied is so useful when it comes to situations like this. These are over depth, so these are about 16 foot long. Just need to take one off, put it between the distance sticks, and then take it down to about 14 foot and then get it out in the lake.
There's a few fish started taking over on the left hand side, and the wind's coming this way, so we've just put 4 zigs like 3 inches under the surface, just as I think they're going to come through. They'll already be there waiting, and just putting some dog biscuits over the top, so when they do come over there's something for them to eat. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah, I just saw a group of fish just circling. They came back about twice, and then this 3rd time I cast right in front and it literally took it as it landed.
Nice fish.
Yeah. it's always good to get the first one of the match. You know, it takes a lot of nerves away. So, you know, that was just an opportunistic cast at some fish that were showing on the top. So hopefully we can pick a few off like that, and then get something, you know, going properly to get some more fish that way.
And how do you feel, Jack?
Me?
Yeah, how do you feel?
Oh. I feel like that.
One of the most important things in my eyes for match fishing is preparation. And I don't just mean prep with tying rigs, but bait prep and preparation. And if it's a lake you're not fished before, then, you know, you need to find out what it's about. You know, have you got a mate that's fished it, or a mate that's fished it, and try and get an idea of what you need to be prepping for. We're fishing Brasenose 1 at the minute, but we could have been on Brasenose 1 or Brasenose 2 with the way that the match has been set up. And so we had to prep for everything. So we had to prep for zigs, different depths, over depth zigs. We've got solid bags, we've got spare solid bag rigs, Ronnies, everything we have got. We've got every bit of bait you can think of in the van, and vast amounts of it in case one thing works particularly well, we're not going to run out of it. Me and Lewis have lost matches, you know, in the past when we first started from not being prepared enough, and it can literally get down to an ounce sometimes on qualification, and if you don't get that rod back out quick enough, that's one rod or one chance of a fish that isn't on the bank. So it is, you've got to prep, got to be ready, organised, rods clipped up, spare rods, and as soon as that fish is in the net, you get that rod back out, and you will land more fish if you are prepared to do so.
What did you do all weekend? Just bombed cow pat out into the lake and caught nothing. Oh, that sounds great. And you do that for fun? Yeah. Yeah, we love it. We found a little spot down in the margin. It's become a real scratchy match at the minute. There's only been 5 fish out of the whole lake, so we found a spot down there which we think we could nick a bite through the night, so we'll sacrifice a rod down there, and then we're going to find a spot out in the middle, little gravel area, put 4 or 5 spawns over it and a couple of rods, and see what that brings. But we might mess about with some zigs through the night as well, so we'll start on the bottom, and if nothing's really happening then we might change over to zigs sort of halfway through the night, see what happens.
Slow and frustrating night there, but persevered and finally nicked one off the margin spot this morning. 23 pounds, so nice start to the day. Hopefully we can get a few more, see how we go at the end of the day. We've just come out of first night, very frustrating night. We've the I tried surface fishing for a lot of the night. Got us some, decided to go to bed about sort of 12ish, then set the alarm for 4. I had a weird occurrence on this margin rod in the night. I think I lost one on it, so I can't get it back there at night. It's a really awkward cast. I did it first thing this morning, and there's only out there about an hour and a half, and it's gone. Had a nice 23 pounder, so really that's one rod now that we've got set for the rest of the match. We're going to keep persevering with that spot. What we don't know is, we still need to make the most of the main part of the lake, so got to try a few different things today, probably chop and change between zigs, bottom baits, all sorts on the surface, and then hopefully, add to our total. But we've got 2 fish now. We're on about, I think we're on about 50 pounds, so should be about 4th still, which is fine. But obviously we want to try and climb up that leaderboard a bit higher. So yeah, let's see how the day goes.
I thought you were messing about because I had my back to it. I was like, what are you doing?
I thought it was just doing like one of the line bites, and then it gets right round.
Right, 2 on the bounce, how's about that? Lou saw a fish show down his right hand margin, stuck a bag down there, and it went off after what?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Must have.
We wondered if it was a coup to start with, and then my baited area from last night has just produced the first bite, so hopefully put a few more spawns out and we can see if we can nick another one. But over the moon with these 2.
Yep. Another 30 pounds onto the weight, so got to secure probably 4th, possibly 3rd place, so we're going in the right direction. Let's get them back and get a few more. So we've just had a couple of fish this morning. We've slipped them back now. So we've got, this is the key day today. It's the full day of the match. So this is a key one to make use of. So we're going to stick to the margin spot down there. That's done a few bites now. So that's one rod sorted. We were sort of unsure about the other 2, but out of nowhere, one off the baited spot went off. So because that's happened, it might just be a lucky fish. But we are going to stick with that at least for the next few hours. Redone the 2 rods on there with solid bags, and then we've also found another clear area in the margin that the 4th rod on. So that's what we're going to do for the next few hours. We'll also obviously keep an eye on things, and if we see some fish show, we'll cast to them, and we'll keep also trickling some dog biscuits out, because you just never know, and if they come on to the dog biscuits on the surface, you can have a few fish pretty quickly. So fingers crossed all of that or some of that works, and then we'll hopefully have a fish to show you.
Feels a good fish, this. Plodding after it took about 300 yards of line. I think because we're dropping the lead, it all of a sudden doesn't feel that resistance anymore. It's like when you get one off the top, you just go berserk to start with.
It's a good fish. That's a 30 or a high 20.
Here we are then, a result of one off the baited area on a solid bag. We haven't weighed it yet, but I'd imagine it's going to be scraper 30, which is a great result. The rods are back out. The marshals have just turned up. and we'll get this one weighed and get a slip back.
So as we said earlier, you know, we've had a spot in the margin we're happy with, and then we had a bite out the blue off the baited area. We've actually had another bite off there now, so there's definitely at least a few fish there. The only thing we're slightly unsure about is whether, you know, we've had 2 bites off the bottom out there, but if you try a zig, you might find you'll get bites even quicker, because there might be fish off the bottom there, so still attracted to the bait, still in the area, but not on the bottom. So what we've done now is left 2 out on solid bags, but we've put 1 on a zig, and we'll change the depth of that over the next few hours. And you know, we might find we get some bites at 8-foot zigs quicker than what we've been getting on the solid bag. So it's always about, you know, chopping and changing, seeing if you can get bites quicker. So as with every type of fishing, you know, match fishing's no different. You have to bring the right gear to match the situation you're in. So that means, you know, looking at the venue you're fishing, but also the type of fishing you're going to be doing. This match we're in right now is at linear fisheries across Brasenose 1 and Brasenose 2, both quite large lakes, over 30 acres. So I've chosen to bring a set of 13-foot rods. I'm actually using the Infinity X45s today, and the reason I've got 13-foot rods is because it will cover everything I want to do. If I'm fishing short, if I'm fishing long, down the margins, it covers all of that, whereas a 12-foot set of rods, you know, might struggle to hit some of the distances you want to be fishing, especially if you're using something like a solid bag. So yeah, you know, on this match, again, the swim we're in right now, you can fish 33 wraps out, I think, is your limit, whereas other pegs you can only fish 18. So I think the important thing is, with the rods, you've got to have a set of big pit reels. I've got the tournament Bayesias today, you know, lucky enough to have those with me. And the other thing, really importantly, is to make use of the spare spools you get with the reel. So I've got 1 spool on here with 15-pound line, and I'll use that sort of for anything up to 100 yards. And then I've got in here, I've got some spare spools, and they've got 12-pound line with shock leaders. So if I see fish at range, it means I can still get out there, try and keep the bites coming. So that's the kit I've brought with me. It's really important that you match the kit to the situation you're in. So we're obviously in a pairs match here, so we've got 4 rods between us, so only 2 rods each, which means, luckily, you know, I normally fish with 3 rods, which means I've got a spare rod set up, so as soon as I catch a fish I can get another one back out on the spot, maximise the chance of catching more fish, because the more time you've got a rod in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. The other really important thing for matches, especially somewhere like linear, is to have a really good spod, you know, spod and marker rod, but more so the spod rod. You know, we probably use the spod rod more than anything up here, you know, and you can end up putting, you know, quite a lot of bait out, sometimes sort of 10-20 kilos of bait over the weekend. It's really important you have a good rod. I've got actually today the Infinity X45 spod rod, and it's doing the job perfectly. That's coupled up with an Emblem spod reel, so I can just, you know, spod comfortably for a lot of bait out with no problems at all.
So it's been a quiet afternoon today. Haven't seen much activity. I think there's probably been 4 fish out of the whole lake this afternoon. So we've been messing about with zigs at different depths all of today, all this afternoon. We've just put some bait back out on the baited area. Just put 2 rods back on that on the deck. We found a nice area close in next to some weed, and it's a really nice gravel area which we've put a couple of spoms on and put a solid bag on that, so hoping for a bite off that. And then the rod that Lou's had has been productive down the margin. After the 3 takes we had off of that, It went quiet for a couple of hours, so we brought it in about midday, put some bait on it, and have left it there all day till about an hour ago, and just to rest it, and hopefully we should pick one up off that rod. But we are currently sat in third, but I think we're only £3 behind second, and probably only 2 or 3 fish off the first, so it's all doable. Confident for tonight, or at least the morning, to get a bite or two, and hopefully we can get up near that first place mark.
Oh wow, that drop was fantastic.
Just been through the second night, so on the final morning now. It's been an incredibly frustrating match. It's one of those things we were saying yesterday about having some really high highs and then low lows, and we're definitely in a low at the moment. There's not one fish has been caught on this bank now for for about 24 hours now. And I've just seen someone catch one, which means they go above us, so I think we're now in 4th, which is really not what we wanted. So got a few hours left, really need to get one. If we get one, there's a good chance we'll go all the way back up to second, so see what happens the last few hours. But yeah, at the moment, very frustrating.
Look. Yeah.
Just seen some fish taking about an hour ago off the surface to our left. So me and Lou just thought, right, we've got 3 hours left, we'll just fill it with mixers. And we managed to draw the fish over, made it really oily, and they came over, and we got them started taking on the top. So we chucked a couple of over depth zigs out there, and one of them went off after sort of 10 minutes. Unfortunately, we lost that one due to the length of the zig. Funnily enough, then Lewis's margin rod went off on the bottom, landed that one, got that one in, and then as we were sorting that fish out, my baited area went off as well, and we think we've got a 30 plus mirror to weigh in. So the marshals just turned up. We're going to get them weighed in and see if we can nick another one before 12. So I said that we thought we had a 30 pounder. This one's just gone 34 pound. It's now the biggest fish of the match, and we're over the moon with this one. Still got an hour left, so hopefully we can nick another one.
Got literally 20 minutes of the match left. Just changed the hook bait on the surface and I caught one. As soon as we got it in the net, cast it back out and it's taken it again, so that little change has really paid off. We've been trying for ages to get one off the top. Just found that bait that they wanted now, so You might never know, we've got 5 minutes left. If I can get this in, there's still possibly time for one more, because I only have to hook it before 12, I don't have to land it. So let's see what we can do. Here we go, a crazy last 20 minutes to the match. We had 4 fish, only had 5 in the whole of the 47 hours, so what a way to finish. Secured us second place, which we're over the moon with, and we're going to come back in 2 weeks' time to do it all again and see if we can catch some more.
Result.